Hello, and welcome to my review of the second episode of the book of Boba Fett, called The Tribes of Tatooine, directed by Steph Green and written by Jon Favreau. This one I think was a little bit better than the previous episode, and maybe that was just because of the burden of just explaining how Boba Fett escaped from the Sarlacc and a lot of house cleaning details. I kind of liked seeing Jabba's palace again, and just getting more camera angles that they couldn't necessarily get before because of the limitations of the model, or the miniatures, and the compositing, where they layer images and have matte paintings on. Like with computers, it seems like it allows them to have much more crisp, wide angle shots that I really like. I thought it was a little the acting, I don't know, I feel like some of the dialogue is kind of rough. Some of the acting, I don't know, maybe they could have, it seems a little rigid sometimes. Or there was this one scene where in the last episode they caught this assassin and they were trying to get information out of him to find out who he was working for. And so he wouldn't talk. So they were like, oh, let's see how he deals with the Rancor. And they hit the little button and he fell in the trapdoor, just like what we saw with Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi. And then, so the door opens up and the guy's like, oh, I'll talk. And then he looked like he was freaking out. And then Fennec Shand goes, it's empty! With this tone of voice, like he was so stupid that he should have known that it was empty. I don't know, it didn't make sense. What was he supposed to read in the newspaper that the Rancor was there was only one Rancor at that palace and it had been killed by Luke Skywalker? I don't know. Some of the acting is a little stiff, but it did have a lot of cool stuff. I think in this episode, I've complained in some of these reviews about how some of the alien sound effects when they're talking is just people going, and there's still some of that in this episode when they deal with the Tusken Raiders. But at one point they were talking to this one alien guy, and he was making all these weird sounds, but then there was an electronic voice over that. And I feel like that's one of the ways it should be done. I just don't either overdub animal noises so it doesn't sound like a guy just making constipation noises. Have a protocol droid or a translator, or just have a robotic translation. It just seems more fluid. It sounds better. It looks better. At one point, these huts showed up, and I was like, oh yeah, I thought that was so cool because, one thing about Star Trek aliens is that the majority of the time they just look like a person with makeup on. They look like, oh, this guy's got a this forehead. This species of alien's nose is just a slightly more crinkly than that one. Let's get it. They're a whole new species. There's a little crinkle here. Or ooh, this guy's got he's got a Lego stuck to his face. But Star Wars, their designs are so much more imaginative. And I just like seeing huts. And these huts were big and fat like Jabba, and they were just morbidly obese. And that's fine. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to see are there huts that are not morbidly obese, and how to, in the first Star Wars movie, in the special edition when they CGI'd Jabba into A New Hope, I thought it was so dumb how he would just hop, and he would just get around just with these tiny little hops, and I just that never looked good to me. And so I kind of felt like if a hut is morbidly obese like that, they shouldn't just make them unrealistically, hop along like that. I feel like they should either be carried, or there should be maybe they could show a hut who isn't morbidly obese and just kind of show how he gets around, and maybe it would look kind of neat. but these huts were being carried like they didn't have like a motorized throne or a throne on wheels. He had all these. Like these two huts were being carried on like a large. I forget what the word is called. They were being carried on like a weird like board. Like I don't remember what the word for that. Not a whatever. But they were being carried by these servants and like I don't know. I just thought it was kind of amusing. They looked. The huts looked maybe just a little bit plasticky, but I didn't really mind that much. I just liked seeing them. I just thought it was cool. And when the huts were showing up, like there was this drum, and they heard the drum beating way off in the distance, and then it was just like boom, 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 and it would just slowly get louder and louder. And I thought that was really cool because I don't know, it just reminded me of that scene in Saving Private Ryan when that what was it, like a Panzer tank or something was coming down the road, and they just like heard the rumbling, and it had this ominous feeling as the rumbling increased in volume, and it was just like, whoa, something ominous is coming near. And I don't know, I just thought that was a really great directorial choice. And also, these it seemed like they were gonna set these huts up to be possibly competitors or enemies of Boba Fett, and I don't know, I just love it. And they had this Wookiee, like this large Wookiee who was like his fur was black, and I don't know, I was happy to see Wookiees too because they're like giant creatures. I like all the artistic aliens, like Wookiees, Gamorrean guards, huts, like the things that are interesting to look at. Like in the last episode, it had that weird, six-legged alien that looked stupid. Like it didn't really look like it didn't look natural. It looked like somebody just sculpted it out of clay in the 40s. But the aliens were good in this episode. Let's see. I don't want to spoil everything that happened. I mean, I don't want my reviews to just be recapping a recap of what happened, but there was some shots of Boba Fett when he was living with the Sand People, and there was some good stuff going on. But like there's one scene where Boba Fett was sparring with his gaffy stick trainer, and I don't know. I feel like that could have been more of montage-like, because it was just like, oh, they were like sparring, and then Boba Fett, like the gaffy stick master, did this move on him, and it was like Boba Fett was like, "Show me how," and it went from like his transition of being taught or as being a student was basically like the master was telling him to hold the gaffy stick one way, and he was like, "I am holding it exactly as you are holding," and then he did the special move, and then he was like, "Oh, show me how to do that." And at first I wasn't really sure how I felt. I don't know how I feel about that, because it just felt like, that is he a gaffy stick master now that he learned that one move? Like, I don't know. Maybe this is a cliche thing to say, but it's like, or a cliche idea to express, but like maybe they should have showed a couple of different scenes like that. Maybe not a montage necessarily, like which is a cliche in Hollywood, and like they have music playing and then there's like different cuts. But maybe if they showed him a couple of other tricks. At one point there was this guy who was teaching Boba Fett how to carve his own gaffy stick, and I thought that was really cool because it was a very, earthy type of way to, it was like a way to connect the Sand People with their world. Like, it was just like, this is a cultural thing that they do, and I just thought it was much more tactile, and it just seemed like it was more thought out, and like they put more time into that scene than in the previous episode when they were explaining how they got water, and it's like, oh, just dig in the dirt and we find these things and then we drink them. Like, that didn't make sense at all. But I don't know. I kind of wanted to know how that worked, even though I don't know. Maybe it's an alien thing that could have been hard to explain. Like I just wanted to know how they. I feel like there should be another way for the Sand People to get water. Maybe they buried them just because. Like when I was talking about the Bushmen last time in my last review, like they hide things just in case they're walking far from home. And they need, if in a pinch, then they need some water. They just, oh, there's the thing that I buried. Like if they had just said something like that, I feel like it would work more. But then why was this little kid walking these slaves way so far away from home just to dig them up? It's like, why would he be, like they were prisoners. Why would he be a boy or a child be entrusted with walking with them? I don't know. That whole thing didn't make sense. But I just liked the cultural element of this in this episode when he was teaching Boba Fett how to master the gaffy stick after he won their favor. One interesting thing about their culture in this episode, another sort of cultural element that I thought was cool that kind of fleshed out the Sand People a little bit more, was when I guess the leader of the Sand People wanted Boba Fett to go on this quest to get this, to I guess get a branch from this sacred tree or something that he could make his gaffy stick with. He was like, I have a gift for you, and then he brought out this little box or little cage, and he opened it, and Boba Fett was, oh, it's a lizard, and then the lizard. Oh, and then the Sand People King was like blew some dust in his face, and then the lizard jumped onto his face and then squirmed around and went up his nose. And I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. It kind of bugged me a little bit that it just looked kind of like a lizard, like an earth lizard. I was thinking maybe it should have been more squid-like or something weird, if it can just go up inside a person's sinus cavity or something and influence their brain, but at the same time it's a desert planet, so like a squiddy looking thing probably would be less likely to exist there, so maybe a lizard makes the most sense. Maybe a snake would have made the most sense. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Like it was an interesting idea. Like there's still wonder, like I don't know, the Sand People. After watching the first Star Wars trilogy, I was kind of like, yeah, I feel like I've got the Sand People kind of figured out. But there's still like some magical elements to them. Not necessarily magical, but like I don't know. There's mystery and there's things about their culture that I would not have predicted. And I kind of like that weird sand lizard or that weird little nose lizard thing. So the lizard goes up in his nose, and I guess he has this weird like hallucination, or puts him in this altered state of mind where he goes on this quest. And I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like, how people say that there are certain toads in the Amazon that people lick to get high off of. And I feel like it was based on that somehow. But I thought that the fact that it squirmed up his nose and like connected to his brain was it was much more interesting and more imaginative, and I kind of like that. What else do I want to talk about? I like how the sand, like, I guess the Dune Sea is where the Sand People live, and I like the whole angle that the Dune Sea is like this sacred ancestral home of the Sand People. And I like that they're, at first I feel like the dumb monster or the orc often has its place in the in fantasy movies or science fiction movies, like like the troglodyte, like the alien chimpanzee that people are scared of, like that sort of thing has its place. But and I was kind of annoyed at first when they're trying to make like the Sand People into, oh, they're these victims. They're like, oh, this is the time of, this is the time of where everyone's a victim and everyone's special. And it just sounded like this, like, and when they did stuff like that in The Mandalorian, I found it to be kind of annoying, because it was just like, not everybody is a victim. Not everybody is a sympathetic character. Like there's a like, I don't know. I guess it doesn't kill all the adventure, but it almost seems a little too pretentious that nobody can be a bad guy. It's like, oh, everybody's misunderstood. But the way they did it in this episode, I thought they did it well, because like they lived in the desert, and there would be, and like it just seemed like they gave the impression that there was just utter lawlessness, like criminals would just speed in through on these speeder bikes and go to like a moisture evaporation farm and just beat everybody up and take all their stuff and spray paint their little logos on the wall and then just speed away. And like the frontier town element of lawlessness is something that I really liked. And I don't know, there's still like the thug characters. Like there were some thugs in this one. It just so happens that maybe the Sand People weren't thugs. They were just, maybe they were the understood ones. But they still have brutish, barbaric people that still add an element of danger to the world. Like they're not just, oh, the world's so peaceful and they're just misunderstood. It's like, there's still danger. It's not a hippie universe. And then there was like this train that would just speed through the Sand People's territory and just like take shots at them and just like what. But I don't know. It was kind of strange that they didn't. I don't know. I feel like the response to that sort of thing would be to dig down into the ground, and I don't know. But maybe they were just caught off guard. Maybe they were. I don't remember where they were when this train came in and started picking them off. But they might have just been in the mid traveling through the desert, and they were just caught off guard or something. But I forget where they were. But anyway, so Boba Fett manages to steal some technology, and there were some interesting scenes where he was trying to train them how to use it, and some of it just seemed like that silly scene from episode 4, season 1 of The Mandalorian, that was one of I hated the episodes I hated the most, where they were trying to teach these villagers how to shoot and stuff, and they were like, oh, I don't know how to spear things. But it kind of had that goofy, like, sitcom comedy aesthetic to it, and I don't know, it was a little annoying, but I just, like, it didn't bug me as much just because they were masked up, and they just looked gritty, and it didn't, I felt like it was a little corny, but I don't know, it didn't bother me as much. So anyway, they hijack this other group of, like, they go on this mission, and they get the better of this other species of alien, like these catfish looking aliens. They had like catfish faces, but they had a mask on, and I thought that was kind of cool. Like it did, like when they kind of took them prisoner, they were gonna send them through the desert and ban them from the Dune Sea because they were like they would shoot at the Sand People and kill people. And then the catfish people were like, our water tank is we're gonna die if we walk through the desert without our water tank. And so they gave them some provisions and stuff, but they were like, but on their vehicle there was like this big tank full of water, and I just thought that was a cool thing because like it's a desert planet and you need provisions, and I feel like that detail just adds so much coloring to the world, and I it was so much better than, oh, we dig in the dirt and we found these orbs and we drink out of them, like that just that water car made it just so much more interesting and believable than like, let's find some water pods in the dirt. I wonder if those things that they found in the dirt were like plants or something. Like they're like funguses that grew in the ground that had water in them or something. I don't know. Maybe I missed the explanation of those, but I don't know. I don't know why that bugged me so much. Like if they said that they were plants or fungus that just grew there naturally and had water in them, I feel like that would be perfect. There was more sign language with the Sand People, which I kind of like. I don't know. it's just so much better than having a human character walking around going. It sounds horrible. What else? So yeah, there at the end they had like a musical dance number, and they had like spears, and they were just doing their sand people dances, and I thought that was kind of cool, but it looked like I like the thought, I like the sentiment, like I like that it gave the it was something that added culture to the sand people that I liked. You know, the first episode, I feel like I didn't get the sense that there was much culture. It just seemed like, oh, these sand people, they just hang around, they stand around in the desert all day, and then they exchange a couple of grunts, and then they walk over there and they stand around over there for a while. Like this, like the dance, their you know, their dance at the end, it just made them seem like they got stuff going on. Like they think about stuff. They have activities that they do. Like the dancing just seemed a little bit like awkward white people dancing, but I don't know. Maybe that's how sand people dance. Maybe they're not the best dancers in the galaxy. Do I have anything else I want to say? I feel like I may have covered everything that I really want to talk about. I like this episode a lot more than the last one. I hope, like, this one was directed by Steph Green, and I forget who the other, Robert Rodriguez, I think, directed the other one. I feel like this is going to be another series where they have, like, guest directors, and each one of them is going to have a differing level of quality. Like, some of them are going to stink, and some of them are going to be really good. So I'm enthusiastic. I'm thinking that, you know, it's still worth watching these. So yeah, if I had to give this one a grade, I would say maybe, like, somewhere around the B+, A- range. I'm saying B+, because, I mean, there was, I don't know, I feel like the acting is kind of stiff, and doesn't feel very natural, and I feel like they could have done a few things better, but I'm going B+. Not too bad. Alright, thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll have some more animated content coming up soon after I finish some contract work. And if you like my channel, not just my babbling about Star Wars, but if you like any of my animations and stuff, or if you don't know about my animations, why not check those out and maybe give the channel a like and subscribe. And hope to see you soon. Goodbye.